Good morning. Okay, so this is a video that I'm actually very excited about. It might not be the most exciting video, perhaps. This is something that's very important to me, and I really hope will make a huge impact in the long run. So I want to introduce something to you guys called Kuma Careers. So as you guys know, I am setting up the Kuma brand in a way that it has multiple sort of branches, right? So we have the content, YouTube content, blog, all that stuff. Then we have our products, right? So we're going to be having the notebooks. We're going to be having different books, right? Different book courses. We have our applications and our tech side. But and then we have the nonprofit stuff, right? So that seems like a lot, and it is a lot, and that's why this has taken such a long time to set up. But there's one other branch that I've been thinking about for a long time, and that is that I see this sort of epidemic, and this epidemic is revolving around figuring out what you want to do with your career, right? What you want to study. And there's this constant sort of conflicting dilemma, I think, of balancing what you love doing and what you enjoy doing and what will provide you a good income and a stable life, right? And different cultures view this different ways. For example, when I was in Japan, at my university in Japan, we had a lot of debates and discussions with Japanese students and Chinese students, Korean students, and then other Western students. And in general, the Western students, particularly those from Western Europe and the United States, our perspective was that you should strive to do something that you really enjoy doing. Now, this wasn't exclusive, but almost all the Japanese students, for example, and the Chinese students, their perspective was that it's better to do something that is stable, that will give you a stable lifestyle. And now this is just a generalization, but I just tell you that to say that different cultures lean in different angles. But I still think that wherever you go, obviously everybody would love to do something they enjoy for their job, right? And so there's some sort of conflict of, do I study the thing that I really love, if that happens to be something that isn't the most lucrative in the job market? Or do I study something that will give me a great job and perhaps allow me to do things I love in my free time, right? So I find that there's this huge epidemic of people who are just panicking. And I was one of them. Absolute panic, right? And especially if you already get into university and you still have absolutely no idea, it's a tremendous amount of pressure because you've already committed to something. And especially in the United States where you're paying tremendous amounts of money, but not just here, but for example, if you're paying $10,000 or $20,000 per year and you're accumulating debt, it's a huge amount of pressure to try to figure out while you're in it, am I studying the right thing? Should I change? If I'm going to change, I should change now because it's costing me money. Maybe you think, well, I've already done 3 years, so it's too late. And especially if you're an adult who's working and then you decide you want to change careers. So I just think that there's a huge issue right now across the board with preparing people for dealing with these questions and for understanding what it is they want to do, and also for understanding how they can actually utilize the skills that they have in the job market. So obviously I'm only one person and my specialty is languages. However, this is now 2.5 years almost soon that I will be, I've been engaged in entrepreneurship and running businesses. And over the years, I've also helped a lot of people start companies. So I don't claim by any means to be some business guru. But however, when it comes to language-related careers, I think at least I can provide a good start in terms of perspective, because I'm somebody who did go through the very painful realization that language skills alone were not enough to give me a good job. So I think that especially in the polyglot space, right, where a lot of people are aspiring to learn many languages, I think that there's a common idea that will give you, that will really set you apart from candidates, and that will give you a great job. And it's very difficult to sort of talk about this because I don't want to disappoint people. But the reality is, from talking to many, many, many students, colleagues, fellow learners, and mentors, this can be quite a damaging path to go down. And because in many cases, languages alone will not necessarily be enough. However, I believe that if you have the correct information and if you're prepared, then there are so many ways that you can use those language skills to propel you into an amazing career. And a lot of the advice I see online is sort of very surface level. And it's like, well, you know, you could be an interpreter, you could be a translator, you could go and teach abroad, or go and get another skill. Like, that's kind of where it stops. But people don't often talk about all of the finer details of how you become a translator. Are you going to be an in-house translator? Are you going to be a freelance translator? Freelance sounds great. What are the good and the bad points of doing that? How do you set up a company, right? How do you establish yourself? But furthermore, there are many, many, many other ways that languages can impact your career in a very positive way. And I don't find it sufficient to just tell people, you should get another skill with your languages. Or even something more specific, like you should become an engineer and that'll be great. I want to create, frankly, I would love to aspire to create the best and most robust resource for language-related career advice. Okay, so now I alone am not sufficient for that, right? Now, I can give you a lot of perspective on how it went for me, on how I spoke 7 or 8 languages at one point and still couldn't get a job outside of customer service. I started a company, I did translation, did teaching. Now I'm transitioning into making language-related products. And so I do have quite a lot of experience there, and also using now languages to get involved in programming, which is a very lucrative field. But again, I'm very young, I have a limited experience, and there are so many ways that your language skills could benefit you. So here's my goal. My goal is to create a resource which is going to comprise mostly of interviews and articles, right? So I have already compiled a list of people that I will continue to grow, and I'm actually very excited. I have some really amazing guests lined up for you guys, people who are in a whole variety of industries and fields, and these are all people who have been whose careers have been massively impacted by language skills. Some of them work in languages directly, but many of the people I'm going to be interviewing do jobs that aren't specific to languages necessarily. So I want to create something that really helps to prepare anybody who needs this to understand what languages do provide, and specifically what they don't provide, right? Because language skills provide you a lot, and many people forget to talk about, well, here's what languages will not get you. And I want to help you guys understand, those of you who need it, the different ways that you can prepare yourself for basically a successful career. But I would just like to see if I could help at least make a tiny dent in this epidemic, and at least save you the time so that you don't have to spend 5 years like I did floundering and panicking and just figuring out. I would love it if I could help really young people who are nowhere near university yet that are interested in languages start preparing themselves so that they can be propelled into a great career early on. Or if I could provide an outlet for university students who are panicking or who need advice, and of course even middle-aged adults and upwards who want to change careers and use languages. So that was a bit long, but I'm really excited about this service. Like I said, I want to create something that will make a positive impact, and I think this is one way I can do it. And the very last thing I'll tell you, this is very exciting, is that I'm actually going to be providing an internship through Kuma. So that's going to depend, because in the United States at least, many internships are unpaid, and I don't want to do that. So I would like to be able to pay interns and hopefully pay them a fair wage. And I'm even looking into things like setting up a scholarship for this type of thing. So the details of the internship will come later. But so I want you guys to know, I'll talk about the new Patreon page soon. But when you guys support me on Patreon or when you guys buy the Kuma products, it's really not just about financing me and the team and everything. You're impacting people in many ways. And one of those ways is helping to set up things like this Kuma Careers service. So hope you guys are doing wonderfully. Good luck with your language studies. And I hope you're as excited as I am about this. And there'll be more updates, and I'll have the first interview for you guys very soon. So take care, stay curious, keep studying, and ciao.